Good day, sir. And for topic today is introduction to the graphic design. What is typography? Typography is everywhere we look. It's in the book we read, on the website we visit, even the everyday life, on a street sign, bumper, stickers, and project packaging. But we exactly in typography? Simple put, typography is the style or appearance of text. It can also refer to the art of working with text, something you probably do all the time if you create documents or other project for work, school, or yourself. Common types of fonts. Typography can be an intimidating subject, but it doesn't have to be. You only need to know a little to make a big difference in the stuff you do every day. So let's get started. First, some common types of fonts. What you need what to know about them. Serif fonts. Serif fonts have little strokes called serif attached to the main part of the letter because of their classic look. They're a good choice for more traditional projects. They're also common in print publications like magazine and newspaper. Sans serif fonts don't have that extra stroke, hence the name, which in France without serif. This style is considered more clean and modern than serif fonts. Also, it tends to be easier to read on computer screen, including smartphone and tablet. Display fonts. Display fonts come in many different styles like script, black letter, all caps, and just plain fancy. Because of their decorative nature, display fonts and are best for small amounts of text like titles and lead headers and more graphic heavy design. Choosing a font. In a way, fonts have their own language. They all have something to say beyond the word of the page. They can come across as casual or neutral, exotic, or graphic. That's why it's important to think about your message, then choose a fonts that fits. Fonts to avoid. Some fonts come with extra baggage, including Comic Sans, Curls, and Papyrus. There's nothing particularly wrong with these fonts. They just have a certain reputation for being outdated and overused. Combining fonts. When deciding for which fonts to use, less in more, it's best to limit yourself to one or two per subject. If you need more contrast, try repeating one of your fonts in a different size, weight, or style. This trick is particularly foolproof for creating interesting combinations that work. Other important terms. Maybe you have turned like kerning, reading, tracking, and hierarchy. For those have more experience, those concepts are essential for creating personal looking design. As a beginning, you don't need to know everything about this term, just enough to inform your work and help you talk about design with more confidence. Hierarchy. Hierarchy is the use of guide and reader eye to whatever in most important. In other words, it shows them where to begin and where to go next using different level of emphasis. Leading. Leading rhymes with wedding. Wedding is the space between lines of text, also known as line spacing. Tracking. Tracking is the overall space between characters, something called character spacing. Most programs let you condense or expand this depending in your needs. Kerning. Kerning. Kerning is the space between a specific character, unlike tracking, is varies over the course of the word because each letter fits together differently. Next topic is the beginning graphic design, color. Power of color. Color plays with vital roles in design and everyday life. It can draw your eye to an image. Something can trigger an emotional response in it. Can even communicate something important without using word at all. Color basics. Let's start to the beginning with reference on the basics. Remember learning about primary and secondary colors in school. Then you already have some knowledge of color theory. Secondary color are created by combining two primary colors. Red and yellow make orange, yellow and blue make green, and blue and red make purple. If we mix them together, we get even more in between shades like red orange and yellow green. Altogether they form what's called a color wheel. Closer look. Now that you know about the color wheel, let's take it one step further with hue, saturation, and value. These are terms you may not encounter in daily life, but they're the key to understand more nuance. Color, like all those little paint chips at the home improvement store. Hue. Hue is the easiest one. Easiest one. It's basically just another word for color. In the example below, you may describe the hue as color pink or red or light red, depending in your interpretation. Saturation. Saturation refers to intensity. In other words, whether the color appears from subtle or more variant. Highly saturated colors are brighter or richer. Desaturated color have less pigment and therefore less value. Value has to do with how dark and light the color is, ranging from black to white, as you can see below. This gives you many different shades, for a deep reddish brown to the light pastel pink. Creating color schemes. So how do we put this all together to create personal looking color schemes? There are actually tried and true formulas based on something called color harmony that can help. Color harmony use the color wheel to illustrate times tested color combination. We'll explore some of the most common types of harmony below. Monochromatic. The easiest formula for harmony is monochromatic because it only uses one color of hue. To create monochromatic color scheme, pick a spot on the color wheel, then use your knowledge of saturation and value to create variation. The best thing about monochromatic color scheme is that they guaranteed to match the colors suit each other perfectly because they're all for the same family. Analogs. An analogs color scheme use color that are next to each other on the wheel, like reds and orange or blues and greens. Don't be afraid to play with the palette and create your own unique interpretation. That's what color harmony is all about. The formulas are merely starting points to help guide and inspire you. Complementary colors are opposite each other on the wheel. For instance, blue and orange, or the classic red and green. To avoid complementary color scheme that are too simplistic and add some variety by introducing lighter darker and desaturated tones. Split complementary. A split complementary color scheme use the color on either side of the complement. This gives you the same level of contrast as a complementary color scheme but more colors to work with. Triadic. A triadic color scheme uses three colors that are evenly spaced, forming a perfect triangle on the wheel. This combination tends to be pretty striking, especially when they include primary or secondary colors, so be mindful when using them in your work. Tedratic color scheme from a rectangle on the wheel using not one but two complementary color pairs. For this formula works best in you let one color dominate wheel, the other serve as an accent. Avoid common mistake. There are a few classic dos and doesn't when it comes to color. For instance, have you ever seen color that seem to vibrate when they're placed next to each other? The solution is to tone it down literally and they're a simple. Why don't it start with one color and trying adjusting its lightness, darkness, or saturation, something's a little construct. It is all your color palettes needs. Readability is an important factor in any design. Your color should be legible and easy on the eyes, especially when working with text. Choosing the right color. Every color send an image. It's important to consider the tone of your project and choose a color palette that fits. For example, bright color tend to have a fun or modern vibe. And the last one of discussion is method of multimedia files compression. File compression, the goal of Media compression is to reduce file size, and save disk space. However, media compression algorithms are specific to certain types of media such as image, audio, and video files. Two main types of compression: lossless compression, lossy compression. Lossless compression doesn't reduce the quality of the file at all. No data is lost, so lossless compression allows a file to be recreated exactly as it was when originally created. Lossy compression removes some of a file or original data in order to reduce the file size. This might mean reducing the number of color in an image or reducing the number of samples in a sound file. This can result in small loss of quality of an image or sound file. Yun lang po, sir. Salamat po.